Om Vakratunda Mahakaya
Kaya
Surya Koti
Suryakotisamabhrava
Samaprabha Nirvignam
Nirvighனம்
Kuru
Kuru
Me
Me Deva
Deva Sarvakaryeshu
Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada
Sarvada Saraswati
Saraswati
Namastubhyam
Namaste
Varade
Varade
Kamarupini
Kamarupini
Vidyarambham Karishyami
Karishyami
Siddhir
Siddhir
Bhavatu
Bhavatu
Me
Me Sada
Sada Gurur Brahma
Brahma
Gurur Vishnu
Guru Vishnu
Gurur
Guru
Devo
Deva
Maheshwaraha
Maheshwara
Guru
Guru Sakshat
Sakshat Param Brahma
Parabrahma
Tasmai
Tasmai
Shri
Shri Gurave
Gurave
Namaha.
Namaha Om
Om Sahana
Sahana
Bhavatu
Bhavatu
Sahanam
Sahano
Punaktu
Punakto Saha
Sahaviryan
Viryam
Karavavahe
Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhetamastu Ma
Tejasvinavadhetamastu
Vidvishavahe
Mavahe
Om
Om
Shanti Shanti
Shanti
Shanti. Can repeat. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Atha Pratamodhyayah.
अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः
Dhritarashtra Uvacha.
धृतराष्ट्र उवाच
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre.
धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे
Samaveta
समवेधायुयुत्सवः
Mamakaः Pandavaschaiva
मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव
Imakurvata Sanjaya.
किमकुर्वथ सञ्जय.
The first shloka of the Gita are the words of Dhritarashtra. Kurukshetra is a place where the Kuru people, the dynasty of Kuru, were ruling the kingdom. Kuru dynasty ruled by the descendants of Kuru, and the Kshetra, the place is called Kurukshetra. It is located near Delhi, Ambala, Delhi. So that place is also referred to as Dharmakshetra. The place Kurukshetra is also called Dharmakshetra because there Dharma is going to be established again, or it is called Dharmakshetra because the Kurus followed Dharma, and therefore the Kshetra is called Dharmakshetra, or the war which is going to re-establish Dharma. Therefore also the Kshetra can be called Dharmakshetra. The war is between Kaurava and the Pandavas. The war is between Dharmikaha and Adharmikaha. Therefore, the Kshetra is called Dharmakshetra. It's a Dharma Yuddha where Dharma will eventually win. Therefore, the Kshetra is called Dharmakshetra. Dharma Bhumi, Dharmakshetra. Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, Mamakaha, my people. The words Mamakaha and Pandavaha are significant. Pandu's sons were not unknown to Dhritarashtra. Pandu, the brother of Dhritarashtra, the sons of Pandu, Pandavaha, the sons of Dhritarashtra, Dhartarashtraha, which is referred to by Dhritarashtra as Mamakaha, my people. So therefore, Dhritarashtra, he knows his brother's sons, Pandavaha, therefore not known, but still he doesn't include them as his sons. Mamakaha, by saying Mamakaha, he excludes Pandavas. Pandavas they are not mine. Mamakaha referring to Duryodhana Deha, they are my people, my sons. Therefore, yet he did not include them among his own people here. Because of the specific mention of the word Pandavaha, from that it is clear. It is the intention of Dhritarashtra is very clear. Dhritarashtra, in fact, wanted this kingdom to be ruled by his son, Duryodhana. So therefore, Mamakaha, that is the significance of the word Mamakaha. Not only he wanted, in fact, he did not like the sons of Pandus as well as sons of Pandu. He wanted his sons to rule the kingdom. So Mamakaha, my people, then what about Pandavaha? They are not mine, other people. So therefore, his exclusion can be seen by the mention of the word Pandavaha. His inclusion, of course, the sons, that can be seen by the word Mamakaha, my. Mamakaha Mama, from the word Mama it is derived, Mamakaha. It's a Tadita word, Mamakaha. Dhritarashtra was the oldest in the family and should have looked upon Pandu's children as his own. Is the oldest. It's a senior person. As the eldest meaning the person is matured, should be supposed to be emotionally matured, supposed to be a dharmika person, and undergone life's experiences. Therefore, we can presume that he was a learned person, dharmika person. Therefore, he should, being the head of the family, he should include all people as his own people. But he did not do that. Not only his eyes were blind, his eyes were blind, his mind also, it is not awake. Not awake, it's not matured, is blindly attached to his sons. So, therefore, instead of looking upon the sons of Pandu also as his own son, Pandu being not there, therefore he should look upon, even otherwise also, but since Pandu is not there, if Pandu is there, then there is question of who will rule the kingdom. Mamakaha Pandava will not come. The war itself would not have come. Pandu being not there, his brother Pandu being not there, now the sons of Pandu, they were the people, privileged people for the kingdom, but they were dethroned and he placed his own son. Now he wanted his son to continue as a king of the Hastinapura. Therefore, only this war is. So the war is really, in fact, because of his love for the kingdom. It is not even love for his son, the love for the kingdom through the love for his son. Because he was denied the privilege of ruling the kingdom. Why was it? Because he's Angahina. He was blind. A blind person cannot rule the kingdom. A king should not be blind. For to be a king, there are certain qualities. He should be brave. He should have more concern for the people. He should have concern for the praja than his own concern. To look after the people as his own people, family members. His whole time and effort, whatever he does, it should be for the welfare of the people of the kingdom. It's a heavy responsibility. Taking the responsibility of the kingdom is responsibility of the welfare of the people. Therefore, he should be a dharmika person. He should be compassionate, all accommodative. So all these are the qualities. And also, he should be free from any defects of the body, bodily defects. Because if the king has defects, if the king is lame or blind or deaf, then he cannot rule the kingdom. A kingdom should be ruled by a king whose sense organs of action and sense organs of knowledge, everything is intact. Only that person can can be appointed as the king. He only deserves to be the king of the kingdom. Since he was blind, physically blind and mentally also blind. So that is that mental blindness is only represented by Dhritarashtra, the character Dhritarashtra. So, and therefore, he used the words Pandavaha, Mamakaha, being the eldest of the family, supposed to have included Pandavas also as his own people, but he used the words Pandavaha, Mamakaha, thus creating a division. Clearly, he divides. Mamakaha, my people, Pandavaha, not my people. Therefore, he used the words Pandavaha, Mamakaha, thus creating a division when he asked what happened between my people and the Pandavas, revealing where his heart lay. So therefore, this partiality or the division is very clearly seen in the question itself. Vyasacharya beautifully presents Mamakaha, Pandavaha. So from that we can infer also Dhritarashtra, in fact, he was the person responsible for the war. He himself destroyed his sons. His greediness for the kingdom destroyed his own sons, all the 100 sons. Continuing, we'll continue the next paragraph. This information was important to Dhritarashtra. Why? Because his son's victory would be his own. The victory of his son would be the victory of his own. His son would occupy the throne, is occupying the throne. His son is a king, he is a king. Therefore, he wanted to know, did Duryodhana win? He was very anxious to know. Therefore, he wanted to ask, who won the war? But the war is not yet over. He wanted to know. Impelled by Dharma, out of fear of destroying his own people, did Dharmaputra decide to go back to the forest so that my Duryodhana could retain the kingdom? These were the thoughts of Dhritarashtra. These are the thoughts running in the mind of Dhritarashtra. Dharmaputra, Yudhishthira. Dharmaputra is the first son of the Pandava, Yudhishthira. He thought this Dharmaputra would have left the kingdom to Duryodhana and would have gone to the forest. Why? Because being Dharmaputra, he would not have desired to fight and kill his people. Therefore, he thought. His question reflected his wishful thinking. Yes. The first verse is a question, and the verse reflects his thinking, wishful thinking. He wanted, his wishes that Yudhishthira and the sons of Pandus, they left the war without fighting, so that Duryodhana, without fighting, he can claim the kingdom. That was his thinking, wishful thinking. Otherwise, this question would have been irrelevant. You would not have asked him Akurvata, what did they do? You would not have asked. Everyone had obviously come to fight. They were armed to the molars. They had not assembled there to have fun. Dhritarashtra himself knew that. Moreover, he was very eager to know everything that had happened in detail. In fact, this question, I told you once, this Dhritarashtra asked this question to Sanjaya, not on the very first day of the war. After the 10th day, when he heard that Bhishmacharya, who was the commander-in-chief of the army, was shot down by Arjuna, when he heard this news, then Dhritarashtra became worried, and he called Sanjaya, who was blessed with this audio-visual capacity. Audio-visual capacity is not immediate. It is, I could see the scenes happening at a remote distance and could hear also. So it is clairvoyance, clairaudience. Television, teleaudio capacity, that he was blessed with that faculty by Vyasacharya. So therefore, Dhritarashtra called Sanjaya and he wanted to know what had happened so far. He wanted to know in detail. Why after the 10th day? Because he thought in the beginning that Dharmaputra would have handed over the kingdom to Duryodhana, not wanting to fight, and would have gone to forest. This was his thought. But the war started 10 days over. Therefore, he was worried. And also, Bhishma was shot down. Therefore, he wanted to know what is happening, what was happening in the battlefield. Therefore, the question he asked. Dhritarashtra knew he did not have dharma with him. Dhritarashtra as well as Duryodhana, both of them knew that dharma was not on their side. Janami dharmam, chame pravritti. Duryodhana himself says, I know dharma, but I don't follow. I know adharma, but I can't give up. Because following adharma has become the nature of Duryodhana as well as Dhritarashtra. So knowing very well that dharma is not with them, still they wanted to fight the war, win the kingdom, destroy the Pandavas. So Dhritarashtra knew. As a father, so the son also. As Dhritarashtra knew that dharma not with him. Similarly, Duryodhana also knows. He also knew very well that his sons had no dharma either. His sons also had no dharma. They are not the followers of dharma. Pandavas are, in fact, Dharmaputra. The very first son, his name is called Dharmaputra, follower of dharma. They were the followers of dharma, and in Duryodhana's and his brothers were followers of adharma, including his father, Dhritarashtra. Therefore, being adharmika, they only initiated this war. Therefore, he did not stop the war. Who? Dhritarashtra did not stop the war. Knowing very well that dharma was not on his side, he did not stop the war. That shows he was greed, he was entertaining greed for the kingdom. He wanted his son to be the king. Therefore, did not stop the war. Therefore, the war is called Dharma Yuddha, the war between Dharma and Adharma. Between the two sides, one side representing Dharma and other sides representing Adharma. So symbolically, it is one side, it is Duryodhana and other people, alliances. Another side representing Dharma, which are Pandava and their alliances. So Dharma Adharma Yogo, Yuddham. And ultimately Dharma will conquer. Dharma will conquer Adharma. So therefore, Dhritarashtra did not stop the war, knowing very well that Dharma not on their side, his side. He did not tell Duryodhana that what he was doing was wrong and withdraw his support. As a responsible father, he should have withdrawn his support, but he did not do. Had he done so, Bhishma and Drona would not have joined Duryodhana because what he was doing would have been against his father's mandate. So Dhritarashtra was responsible. If Dhritarashtra, he had warned his son and withdraw his support, then Bhishmacharya and Dronacharya, the Bhishmacharya, the eldest in the family of the lineage, and Dronacharya is the guru, both of them would not have joined the Duryodhana's army. They joined the Duryodhana's army because his father Dhritarashtra supported Duryodhana. And Bhishma has taken the vow that he would be the protector of the king of Hastinapura, whoever may be the king. Now Dhritarashtra is the king. Therefore, as per his vow, what he took is on the side of Dhritarashtra. Therefore, as Dhritarashtra wanted, Bhishma as well as Drona, both of them supported Duryodhana. None of this happened, however, is neither Dhritarashtra told Duryodhana that what he was doing wrong, nor he withdrew his support. Therefore, all Dhritarashtra had to do was to speak one sentence to Duryodhana. But this he did not do. If he had told one sentence, then this war could not have happened. This was Dhritarashtra. This is a type of person, Dhritarashtra. He was jealous, very jealous of the Pandavas. This jealousy and his blind love for Duryodhana led him to support all the schemes that Duryodhana hatched against the Pandavas. Thus, he was indirectly responsible for the war and its outcome. So it is Dhritarashtra who is responsible for the war. Without his support, this war would not have happened. So Duryodhana, and also Duryodhana, he plotted against the Pandavas many schemes, many things. He wanted to finish the Pandavas. He tried by different means, but he could not succeed. That is why Duryodhana and the brothers are called Atatayinaha. Atatayi comes in Gita Shloka itself. We will see there. Atatayi is Atatayin. Atatayi means the person who has committed all the sixfold crimes. All the sixfold crimes. Atatayi. What are the sixfold crimes? If it is asked, what are the sixfold crimes? That is, Agnido Garadaschaiva, Shastrapanir Kshetra Darapaharicha, Shadete Atatayinaha. Killing a person by fire or by poison, or when the other person is without weapon, then trying to kill them, or usurping the kshetra, the field, the wife of the person, usurping the dhanam, the wealth. These are the sixfold crimes. The one who had committed all the sixfold crimes is called Atatai. And Duryodhana had committed all the sixfold crimes against Pandavas, sons of Pandu. Therefore, Duryodhana is called Atatai. Atatai is a person who had committed all the sixfold crimes. That is, killing a person by fire, either by fire or by poisoning them, or killing the person when the person is without weapon, not carrying weapon. Then robbing the money or land or wife. All these sixfold crimes who had committed is called Atatai. And Duryodhana had committed. That is what here this line says. Duryodhana hatched against the Pandavas by all the different schemes he planned, but all failed. Then the next paragraph, the war in one's mind. This verse also can be looked at subjectively. What was the first shloka? Kurukshetra would then mean Karma Kshetra. Yes, Karma. Karma Kshetra. Gita is going to present Karma Yoga in a beautiful way. And also, for Karma Yoga, Karma requires Kaya, the Shariram. Therefore, Karma Kshetra means physical body, this Shariram. Because the human body is a place where, backed by free will, karma is done. Therefore, it's called Karma Kshetra. Human beings enjoy free will. Only human beings enjoy free will. Because of free will, karma is done. So, karma is not done by human beings in a programmed way. It is done willfully because human beings enjoy free will, and human beings only have kartrutvam, bhoktrutvam. Both kartrutvam, bhoktrutvam. Animals have only bhoktrutvam. They don't have kartrutvam. Human beings enjoy only free will, therefore they do karma, therefore kartrutvam. They become karta, therefore they become bhokta. Therefore, this shariram is called karma kshetra. Same karma kshetra is also called dharma kshetra because it is born of dharma, punyam. Dharma has got another meaning. Dharma has got many meaning. One meaning is punyam. This shariram is born of not only punyam plus papam. Human shariram is born out of both punyam and papam. They are in different. They are in the punyam and papa. or in a certain proportion, then that jiva takes a human sharira, manusha sharira. If only punyam is there, then deva sharira. If only papam is there, then the shariram of pashu, insects, etc. When papa and punya they are in a certain proportion, then only manusha shariram the jiva takes. That is why they are called manusha, human beings are called mishra, papa punya mishra. Therefore, this shariram is born of punyam. It requires punyam. More punyam, of course, papam. That's what the proportion. More punyam, less papam. Then only this shariram, human shariram is taken. Therefore, since this shariram is born of punyam, predominantly punyam, if it is only punyam, then deva shariram. Therefore, it is not completely punyam plus papam. So therefore, this shariram is called dharma kshetra, because out of dharma, out of punyam, this kshetra, this shariram is born. This kayam, shariram, stula shariram is born. Therefore, this body is called dharma kshetra, and through the body only dharma is followed. Therefore, also this shariram is called dharma kshetra. Dharma karya, dharmika actions are done. Therefore, also the shariram is called dharma kshetra. So the place Kurukshetra is called Dharma Kshetra, the Shariram is also called Dharma Kshetra. So therefore, the word Dharma Kshetra, when it is an adjective to Kurukshetra, the place is a location, that place where Dharma is followed, the Kurus, where the followers of Dharma, they followed, and also there the war which is happening now, going to establish Dharma, therefore also called Dharma Kshetra, or that the place which decides the result of war. The result of war also is indirectly presented by Vyasacharya, saying that Dharma Kshetra. Dharma ultimately wins. Satyameva Jayate. Therefore, the word Dharma Kshetra, the very first shloka, the mentioning of the word Dharma Kshetra tells Dharma alone, truth alone triumphs. Indirectly, Vyasacharya tells that also. The war is between Dharma and Adharma, and Dharma is going to win. Therefore, the Kshetram is called Dharma Kshetra. That way also we can take. And individually also, personally, physically, the human Shariram also is called Dharma Kshetra because it is born of Punya. According to the law of karma, a human incarnation is a mixture of both Punya Papa, with Punya being the predominant factor. Therefore, it is called Punya Pradhana Kshetra. Punyam is there, Papam also it is there. Only when Punyam is Pradhanam, then Manusha Sharira. Only Papam, then it is Ado Sharira, it is Pashu Sharira, Mriga Sharira, Kita Sharira, etc. If it both the other Shariram, other than human Shariram, Deva Sharira or Ado Janma, both they have only Bhoktrutvam. Only through human Shariram, karma is possible, Kartrutvam is possible. Therefore, it is called Karma Kshetra. Kurukshetra. Kuru, the word itself, in another way, grammatically also, it is Kru Dhatu, Dukrin Karane, doing is involved. Therefore, the Shariram is Kurukshetra. Through Shariram, karma is done, Dharma Karyas are done. For Dharma Karya, for the action of Dharma, or for earning Punya, this Shariram is a means. Shariram Dharma Sadhanam Bhavat. Shariram Dharma Sadhanam. Therefore, Karma Kshetra. Dharma Kshetra is Karma Kshetra. This Shariram, representing this body. Here, then in this human physical body, called Punya Pradhana Dharma Kshetra and Kurukshetra, in this Shariram, two forces have assembled. One representing Dharma, one is Dharma, which is represented by the Pandavas, other one is Adharma, which is represented by the sons of Dhritarashtra. Two forces have assembled, Dharma represented by the Pandavas and Adharma represented by Dhritarashtra's sons. Dharma was blind, but more than that, his mind was blind to Dharma and Adharma. dharma, adharma, aviveka. His buddhi was completely blind. Therefore, he is blind. Physical blindness not a problem. If the buddhi, if the buddhi is blind to dharma and adharma, that becomes a problem. That destroys a person. Physical blindness do not destroy the person. Dharma, adharma, aviveka destroys a person. He was blind to dharma, adharma. So here the blind is with regard to the viveka jnanam. Dharma, adharma, viveka jnanam. Knowledge with regard to dharma and adharma. Therefore, his sons, the Kauravas, are considered to be the brood of ignorance. Nicely presented here. The product, that is the Kauravas, the sons of Dhritarashtra, because he was blind to dharma, dharma, therefore the product of dharma, dharma is nothing but the brood of ignorance. Because he was blind to dharma and adharma, who Dhritarashtra, therefore his sons, Kauravas, they are also the product of that. They also were born of the lack of discrimination between right and wrong. They are the products of aviveka. So, since they are the products of aviveka, therefore we cannot expect viveka from them. So, that dharma, adharma, the two different forces which are there in every individual, two forces. One is dharmika, other one is adharmika. Dharma represented by the Pandavas in the story, adharma represented by the Dhritarashtra. So there is a fight happening in every individual between the two opposite forces. If the person is a viveki, then dharma will win. If the person is a viveki, then adharma will win, and finally the person gets destroyed. So aviveka destroys a person. Through aviveka, a person gets destroyed. And viveka, he can save himself. Spiritually, he can save himself. Therefore, the more the aviveka is, the more the sane the person is. More the aviveka, the more he is away from the truth, from the reality, from the knowledge, from dharma. Blindness is ignorance. And aviveka is a lack of discriminative knowledge. The Gita deals with the two types of aviveka. One is with reference to dharma and adharma, right and wrong. Another one is with reference to atma and atma. That is why Gita is called both Yoga Shastra and Brahma Vidya. It's a beautiful thing. Every chapter at the end we say Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. The Yoga Shastra, yoga representing karma. So karma is determined by dharma, adharma. Whether it's dharma karma, dharma karya or adharma karya. Therefore, it is called Yoga Shastra. Yoga Shastra involves dharma, adharma, viveka, the knowledge of what is right and wrong. And Brahma Vidya, which involves the knowledge of Atma and Atma. Atma, Anatma, Viveka. So both are Viveka. So two types of Viveka are dealt in Gita. Karma Yoga characterized by Dharma, Dharma, Viveka, and Jnana Yoga, otherwise called Brahma Vidya, characterized by Atma, Anatma, Viveka. Therefore, it's a beautiful representation of the characters of Mahabharata. In blindness, you don't see, and in ignorance also you don't see. Therefore, Dhritarashtra is blind means Dhritarashtra is ignorant. The ignorant Dhritarashtra cannot see the truth because he lacks viveka, is an aviveki. The fight between dharma and adharma. Confusion is born out of ignorance. No one, however, can say I am ignorant of what is right and wrong. Whatever one expects from others in terms of behavior, attitudes, and so on is right if the same behavior and attitudes are expected of oneself by others. This means that the values are understood by everyone, but the value of the values is not. So nobody can find that they don't understand the value. Everybody knows the value. Oh, what I expect from others is what others also expect from me in terms of my action, my attitude. So therefore that is known to everyone. But the value of that, following the values, That is not known. Therefore, here the Kauravas representing many confusions, confusion caused by ajnanam, ignorance. Confusion is because of ignorance. Confusion, aviveka. Confusion means aviveka. Aviveka is born of avidya, ignorance. Confusion caused by ignorance, which is why they are greater in number than the Pandavas. Why the Kauravas are greater in number? Because avidya is a cause for confusions, confusions and conflicts, which are greater in number. Therefore, they represent Kauravas. And the clarity and the dharma, which are not many. Therefore, Pandavas represent that. Pandu stand for discriminative knowledge. In the Mahabharata, he was presented as being very white in appearance. Pandu means Shweta Varnaha ityartha. Pandu is white in color. So, Mahabharata, he was presented. In fact, in the story, Mahabharata, he is presented as white in appearance. His Varna is white color. Why? Because his mother got afraid when she met Vyasacharya. You know the story I told before. Vyasacharya, in fact, through Vyasacharya only, their Pandu was born. So, therefore, seeing Vyasacharya, the mother of Pandu got afraid. Therefore, he was born white, Shvetavarna, white in appearance. White also stands for knowledge, always stands for knowledge. Therefore, Pandavas were born of this discriminative knowledge. So, Pandavas representing that which is born of discriminative knowledge with reference to Dharma, Adharma, and Dhritarashtra representing ignorance, out of which were born all the confusions. That is represented by the Dhartarashtras, sons of Dhritarashtra, that is Duryodhana and his brothers. Therefore, since the Pandavas, that is the discriminative knowledge with regard to Dharma, Adharma, they are only handful, and therefore that represent our inclinations towards Dharma. That represents inclinations towards Dharma, and there are also inclinations towards Adharma. These are born out of aviveka, lack of discrimination with reference to the value of values, whereas inclination towards Dharma are born out of one's general knowledge of right and wrong. So viveka between Dharma and Adharma. So Dharma, Adharma, Viveka only leads a person to Atma and Atma Viveka. First is Dharma, Adharma, Viveka, that is Karma Yoga. By following Karma Yoga, the person gets matured and slowly he shifts, he goes from being a Karma Yogi to Jnana Yogi, that is from Dharma, Dharma, Viveka to Atma and Atma Viveka. Therefore, for Atma and Atma Viveka, what is required or what precedes, that is Dharma, Dharma, Viveka. If a person is a adharmika, he cannot grow to be a Atma and Atma Viveki. Not possible. Adharma, the followers of Adharma are attached to Anatma, therefore they cannot have Viveka. So it is Jnana Yoga is ruled out for Adharmis. Jnana Yoga is only for Viveki with regard to Viveka with regard to Dharma, Adharma. And Gita Shastram, since Gita Shastram presents Karma Yoga, mainly Karma Yoga, because Karma Yoga, why Karma Yoga is emphasized? Because if Karma Yoga gives that pakvata, the maturity for Jnana Yogita. So Gita presents both Brahma Vidya and Karma Yoga. As Gita, no other Shastram presents Karma Yoga. Importance of Karma Yoga. That is Gita, the Gita itself is the condensation of the entire Veda. Veda which is divided into two parts, Veda Purva and Veda Anta, Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. That whole Veda is presented by Gita. Purva Bhaga of the Veda emphasizes Karma Yoga. Uttara Bhaga of the Veda is Vedanta, Jnanam. Both are presented by Gita. One is a means for the other. Karma Yoga is a means for Jnana Yoga. So the entire Veda is presented by Gita in just 700 shlokas. Karma Yoga characterized by Dharma, Dharma Viveka. Jnana Yoga characterized by Atma Anatma Viveka. Therefore, Atma Anatma Viveka is preceded by Dharma Adharma Viveka. Dharma meaning karma. Therefore, karma action is preceded by Viveka, Viveka Jnanam. And Dhritarashtra Aviveki. Therefore, what dharma can be expected from Dhritarashtra or from his sons? He doesn't have the sense of what is right and wrong. Therefore, the war is between dharma and adharma, Viveka and Aviveka. Ultimately, Viveka will conquer. This war is happening in the mind of every individual. Therefore, the huge collective forces of adharma, between the huge collective forces of adharma and the force, the discriminative force, that is represented by Pandavas, there is a war happening between the two in every individual all the time. In that way also, it can be interpreted. Either you can take it as the story literally happening, or the war literally happening, or the war happening in the mind of every individual. Both ways can be taken. Because of the confusion surrounding values, there is a fight between the inclination towards dharma and those towards adharma. Every human being has this problem, because there is an inclination towards dharma and inclination towards adharma, because both the forces are present. Therefore, the inclination is there towards dharma as well as adharma. Therefore, all the time there is fight between the two. Only in a human body or in its equivalent is this fight possible. No human being can avoid this conflict unless he or she understands everything properly. So conflict is not a problem, but conflict born conclusion is a problem. Through the conflict, a person can come out as a matured person, grown person by applying Viveka. So Viveka is important. In fact, in Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, we highlight Viveka first. If Viveka is not there, Vairagya not possible. Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti itself not possible, Adhikari itself not possible. So therefore, the Viveka. No human being can avoid this conflict unless he understands everything properly. Understanding, therefore, that implies Viveka. Dhritarashtra's question, what did they do, reflects a confusion related to values born of ignorance. That question, kim akuruvata, iti, that question what he asked, that represents the confusion. He thought his adharmika putraha would have won the war. How can they win? Because that is not a value, that is born of that confusion. The confusion is my son by chance would have win the war. That is not possible, because they were not committed to following the values. They are not born of Viveka, they are born of Ajnanam, ignorance. So therefore, the question, what did they do? It reflects a confusion, a conflict, confusion, which is born of ignorance, Ajnanam. Any external problem can come from an internal problem. All wars are first fought in the mind, are they not? The Second World War was first fought in the mind of Hitler. The conflict then began and the mind was actualized on the battlefield. All problems start in the mind and later find their expressions outside. Without the conflict in the mind, there would be external conflict. So therefore, external conflict is preceded by internal conflict. The war within manifests in the form of war without. So therefore, conflicts, internal conflicts are the causes of all external problems. The war, what we see, is born of the conflict in the mind, which is because of aviveka. Aviveka born confusions, conflicts. So therefore, only external conflicts, external problems, they are the product of avidya. They are product of avidya. The image of the chariot, imagery of the chariot, which is beautifully given in Kathopanishad. What what is presented in Kathopanishad only is seen here. In fact, some of the shlokas, some of the mantras of Kathopanishad also you will find in the Gita. So in the Gita, the Arjuna's chariot, with Arjuna and Krishna in it, can be seen in terms of self-knowledge unfolded by the Upanishads and the Gita. The significance of this scenario. So you would see Arjuna standing in the chariot and Krishna as a charioteer sitting and holding the reins of the horses, the picture. So that is Ratha Kalpana, imagery of the chariot. The significance of this scenario is explained in the Kathopanishad. The physical body is a chariot. Atmanam ratinam vriddhi. Shariram ratamevatu. Buddhim tusaratim viddhi. Anapragrahamevacha. This mantra is there in Kathopanishad. That mantra says the physical body is a chariot. The Ratha is the intellect. The physical body is a chariot, Ratha. It's a type, okay. Then this Buddhi is a Sarati, driver. Physical body is a chariot. Here it should be, there's a mistake. Physical body is a chariot. The Buddhi is a driver, Sarati. The self, Atma, is a master seated in the back seat. That is, in the story, it is represented by Arjuna. So Sarati is Krishna, and the chariot is this body, and Atma is Arjuna. The mind is likened to the reins. The reins, what the Sarati holds, that representing the mind, that control the horses. How many horses? Horses representing sense organs. Therefore, 5 horses. Horses represent the sense organs. Then sense organs, they are directed towards sense objects, and the sense objects are represented by the path, the roads. The sense objects become the roads, as it were, because the sense organs naturally go towards them. These horses are held in check by the Sarati, the Buddhi, that is the driver. The mind is connected to the sense organs. The sense organs are directed towards sense objects. Sense objects are represented by the marga, the path, and the sense organs which are connected to the mind, and the mind is held in check. Mind is held by the Sarati, the driver. So the Buddhi has command over the mind, and the mind, so the mind is sense organ. The mind has got connection to the sense organs. The Buddhi controls the sense organs through the mind. That is what is represented. And the Ratha Swami, that is the master, who is the master Atma. That is Arjuna in the imagery. In the Ratha imagery, Arjuna representing Atma, Krishna representing the Sarati, that is the Buddhi Sarati. The horses are held in check by the Sarati. The sense organs are kept in check by the Sarati. The Sarati is not dexterous, then sense organs, that is horses, will go in all direction, and the chariot representing the body will not reach the destination. So therefore, the Sarati, he or she may let go of the reins, but the horses are still kept under control. The horses are kept under control. So this is the Ratha Kalpana, imagery of the chariot. Thus, with your body as your chariot, your intellect, Buddhi, as your driver, seated in the back seat, you are out in the world. If your Viveka is not available to you, that is the Buddhi, that Sarati, if you don't have a proper Sarati, the driver, that is Viveka, then it is because your driver is confused, and what happens to chariot under such circumstances becomes quite understandable. If the driver chariot doesn't have this Viveka driver, the driver of the chariot, that is Buddhi doesn't have Viveka. If it is not Viveka Buddhi, the person doesn't have Viveka Buddhi, then what will happen to the person is quite obvious. The person gets destroyed. He will not reach the destination. He will not get physically destroyed, but spiritually, physical destruction also possible. But more than physical, here we are talking about spiritual. Spiritually, the person gets destroyed. Destruction is misdeviated, becomes drifted away from the moksha pursuit. Therefore, it is buddhi. Importance is given to the Sarati, represented by Krishna. Therefore, buddhi. Buddhi is the Krishna and buddhi is the Sarati. So, therefore, buddhi is the Guru. Buddhi as Guru. Now we can bring in this imagery into the opening scene of the Gita. Here, the charioteer is Lord Krishna, is a Guru. So, therefore, Krishna, who is a charioteer, representing the buddhi, Krishna is a Guru, therefore buddhi is a Guru. He keeps the horses under control, thereby keeping the chariot under control. And Krishna being a jnani, his mind and senses are under his control. He has absolute mastery over them. He has got shama and dama. Krishna being a jnani, he has that all the mind, all the senses and mind obey him. Therefore, he has got shama and dama, complete mastery over senses and the mind. Representing the person who has a buddhi has say over the mind and the sense organs. He has absolute mastery over them. Therefore, the student who is a karma yogi too, as a buddhi must enjoy the buddhi that has a mind and the sense organs under its control. As a karma yogi, the person must have a buddhi which has complete mastery over mind and senses. Now, the student's buddhi is not different from Guru's buddhi. The student's buddhi is not different from the Guru's buddhi, because the Guru is the buddhi, is the buddhi. Buddhi is the Guru. Krishna is the Guru, representing buddhi. Therefore, buddhi is the Guru. And it's not different from the student's buddhi. When such a buddhi is exposed to the pramana, then what happens? Pramana is shastram, taught by the Guru. Therefore, such a buddhi exposed to teaching can itself be likened to the Guru. The buddhi which has viveka, dharma, dharma, viveka, atma, anatma, viveka, when it is exposed to the shastram, the buddhi, that's why buddhi, we say buddhi is your Guru. It is not that teacher, he transfers or he pushes the knowledge into the person. It is the person who receives the knowledge through the buddhi. If the buddhi is well trained, if the buddhi has got that viveka, then that buddhi, when exposed to the words of the teacher, the teaching, then jnanam takes place. Therefore, the buddhi can be compared to the Guru. The buddhi is, therefore we say the buddhi is one's own Guru. Externally, you need a support, that is Guru. Physically, one person required, it's a Guru. He operates a pramana. The teacher may operate a pramana, but if the student is not ready, then the palam cannot happen. Therefore, the student also has to be prepared. When can you say a student is prepared? When his buddhi is ready to receive. Therefore, buddhi can be likened to a Guru. Such a buddhi is such a prepared buddhi. The buddhi which is prepared, which has got the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, which enjoys freedom, which enjoys relative freedom, which enjoys relative freedom. Relative freedom means not carried over by the sense organs or the mind. So that buddhi, when it is exposed to the teaching, the knowledge should happen. Therefore, buddhi can be compared or likened to a Guru. Although we say pramana is Vedanta, it is really a thought, a vritti, that is a pramana. Pramana is that which gives rise to knowledge. Although we say pramana is Vedanta, it is really a thought, a vritti, that is a pramana. Vedanta, that is Upanishad, is a pramanam, one of the Shat Pramanani we say. But Vedanta, the Upanishad, they are the words. The words produces thought in the mind. The thought only, the vritti alone removes ajnanam. Therefore, the vritti, really speaking, is a pramana. The vritti is produced by the words of the Shastram, and the vritti, the thoughts which is born of hearing the words of the Shastram only, removes ajnanam. Therefore, really speaking, vritti, the words are the pramanam. Pramana, what is pramanam? Pramanam is that which gives rise to knowledge. And here the vritti gives rise to knowledge. Therefore, vritti is a pramanam. What is a pramanam? Here Swamiji explained with an example. For example, eyes are not the final pramanam for seeing. What is a final pramanam? Eyes are pramanam, but not final. That is, eyes are meant for seeing. The vritti, which is a final pramana, in as much as it is the final cause for knowledge. Eyes are open, but still need not see the external object. Eyes are open, need not see. The person may be sleeping also. The person may sleep with eyes open, possible. Or even with the eyes open, the person is blank, is not completely awake to the object which is exposed. He is in some other, carried over by some other thought. So the person may be seeing the very object which is right in front, seeing, but since he is carried over by some other thought, that vritti cannot happen. The vritti of the object which is in front cannot take place in the mind of the person. Even though he may see, he may not recognize the object. So therefore, how can you say eyes are the pramanam? Eyes are the pramanam, but still, final pramanam is the vritti, the thought which takes place in the mind of the person when the sense organs are exposed to sense object. That is the final pramanam. Therefore, to see a flower, you must have a flower vritti. Opening the eyes, you see the flower. That doesn't create flower knowledge directly. It is because of the flower vritti. Flower vritti, that flower thought. Vritti is thought. The flower thought happening in the mind because your eyes, when you see the flower, that the flower vritti, because of which only flower knowledge takes place. Eyes alone cannot create knowledge. It is flower vritti that creates flower jnanam. Therefore, that is the pramanam. The same way also here also, Vedanta pramanam we say, in fact, it is a vritti, the thought, which is a pramanam, which creates knowledge, produces knowledge. It is this flower vritti which gives rise to the knowledge of the flower seen. That is what is meant by pramana. A vritti is born out of a certain situation and becomes the pramanam. Every pramanam is like that. All the pramanam produces the knowledge. The prama is produced by the vritti. For the production of vritti, for the production of thought, you need sense organs, you need shastram, etc. They are the pramanam. But really speaking, the final pramanam is vritti. Vritti is a pramanam. We say that ears and eyes are the pramanam, but in the final analysis, we see vritti is a pramanam. Vritti alone is a pramanam. The mind being the place where the vritti occurs, vritti, the thought occurs in the mind. Or in other words, the thought is nothing but, the mind is nothing but the thoughts, the flow of thoughts. That is called antakaranam. Antakaranam in Sanskritam is called mind in English. It is nothing but the flow of thoughts, where the thoughts occur, vritti occurs, meaning inner instrument. When you are exposed to your teacher or the teaching, your buddhi, the intellect, assumes the very form of the pramana, the teaching. Therefore, the guru's buddhi or the teaching and your buddhi become one and the same. So the teaching of the guru, the words which are spoken by the guru, when he speaks, the thought occurs, the thought is there in the mind of the teacher, that should become the thought of you. Then only the teaching is complete. Therefore, guru's buddhi, you should have the buddhi of the guru. Only when you have the buddhi of the guru as a student, then only the complete knowledge, transfer of knowledge is possible. The thought of the buddhi, the vritti of the buddhi of the teacher should become the vritti of the buddhi of the student. Then only we can say pramana operation has taken place. Therefore, buddhi is the guru. The buddhi is the guru. Buddhi is the guru means the vritti happening in the mind that gives the knowledge, that buddhi, that is called guru. So external guru, internal guru, we can say, to distinguish two gurus. External gurus are only they cause, they unfold the pramana, but you should have the grace of the inner guru, that is buddhi. So that only any knowledge, in fact, happens. Then what to talk about Shastra knowledge, Shastra Jnanam. Therefore, this Guru Buddhi that is represented by Krishna in the chariot imagery tells you are that, Tat Tvam Asi. Here the Guru Buddhi is turned towards Arjuna. Arjuna is represents the mind which is confused, Antakaranam. Therefore, the Buddhi Guru turns towards Antakaranam, the ego or one's notion of I. Arjuna was definitely confused. He had great sorrow, and he was being told, Tat Tvam Asi. That is why he has so many questions in the 17 chapters that follow. Exposed to the teaching, one's own buddhi assumes the very meaning of the teaching, therefore it becomes guru to oneself. If your buddhi doesn't know this fact, Tattvamasi, it cannot tell you. It cannot tell you anything more than that it knows. Therefore, it is your buddhi really makes you aware of this fact, Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi, which is taught by the external guru, a guru physically present outside of you, that through that guru, that Tattvamasi, that fact is known to you through the Antakaranam, through the buddhi. Therefore, if the buddhi doesn't have this vritti, then it cannot make you aware of, make you know this truth. Therefore, buddhi is the guru. So, therefore, if your buddhi doesn't know this fact, then it cannot tell you anything, not only this Tattvamasi, with regard to any jnanam. The buddhi doesn't know, then the buddhi cannot tell you, teach you. That is why continually asking, who am I, doesn't work. Who am I? Who am I? If you ask, if you keep meditating on the Vakyam, who am I? Your buddhi is asking, who am I? Buddhi itself doesn't know, doesn't have certain knowledge, doesn't ascertain who am I. Then how can the buddhi teach your Antakaranam? How can it can teach you? Antakaranam representing you. How can it teach you? Therefore, the inquiry, who am I, the mere repetition of who am I doesn't work. Nothing can happen because you don't know what you do, because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. Who am I? I don't know. Therefore, I is not known. Therefore, just the Swarupam of I is not known. Just by saying who am I, how will you know that which is not known? Not possible. So therefore, someone has to teach you. You cannot simply ask who am I and expect to get an answer, because the I that is always present is the one asking this question. How will the answer to such a question will come? You cannot hope to stumble upon the fact. The fact is, therefore, you are not going to stumble upon an answer that is anything more than what you already know. The only way an answer can be obtained is by this buddhi, meaning the Shastra pointing towards a confused jiva and saying, you are the whole, Param Brahma, as we shall see. Thus, the whole Gita can be represented through the Krishna-Arjuna chariot scene. Now, to go back to the palace, that is Dhritarashtra, he asks the question to Sanjaya, then Sanjaya replies. That forms the second shloka. Sanjaya Uvacha, we'll see. We'll see that later. Om Purnamadah Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha.
Dhanyavadaha.